Now that we have our legs animated as well as the arms animated, we're going to do a little bit of cleanup on the cycle here and add it to a peg so we can move it from one side to another. And one of the first things I want to do is select the last frame here right before the keyframe. And what we've been doing is we've used this little black triangle to set up where it would loop. But I'm going to go ahead and set a keyframe on our peg. And this is right at frame 23. Let's do F6. Now, just a reminder, I am working at 15 frames per second, so where you will set this up may be a little different. And what I'm going to do next is want to expand our little peg here. And I'll select all of these frames. I'm going to hold on my Shift key. And I'll simply press Delete or Backspace on PC. And so we have this now, and we won't need a little triangle. Now what I'm going to do in order to create a cycle here, I'm going to copy and paste these frames at least 3 times. So I'm going to expand here, go out to about frame 110 or so. And I'll select this first keyframe right on the peg, hold on my Shift key, come down, and I'm going to select the last keyframe on the last arm here, the bottom arm. So basically I'm grabbing the entire character. So I'll copy, Command C, and I'll select the very next empty frame on the timeline, and I'll paste, Command V. And I'm going to do the same here. I'll select this next empty frame and paste again. And select this last frame here and paste. Now I'm going to bring in the end of our scene here. And we'll collapse this. And Donnie should still have a ground to walk on, so we'll expand our ground. Let's do F5. So if I play this, all right, and we have one little problem. We left off one last frame there, so we'll close that in. So right where it gets to the end, Donnie is still there. Looks good. And what we'll do now is I'll take this peg, select it, add a new peg, and we'll add in a keyframe. Let's do F6. So Donnie is actually walking on one peg, and we can take this other peg and we can move it from one side of the screen. I'm going to make sure my stop motion keyframes are turned off. And we want to make sure we turn on our animate button. I'm going to scrub all the way to the end here. And we'll move Donnie maybe about to the end of the floor. And to make sure those go ahead and interpolate, we'll simply do Command K. And so now we have Donnie walking from one side to another. Now, there's one last little thing we can do, and that is making sure that Donnie's not sliding. So we'll take a look at his foot there. And make sure that we simply move him forward until that makes sense and lines up. So we go to the next keyframe. And we'll do the same. Make sure he's lining up. And he's a little behind here, so we'll move him forward again. And I'm just using my arrow keys on the keyboard. And so that way we know that he's not sliding. And that's how you can have your character added to a peg. So once we built the walk cycle, we attached that peg onto another peg, and that way we can actually move it from one side to another. And you can even do things like scaling. And if you don't want to have him walk from one side of the screen to the other, because we have him walking in place, you can always move your backgrounds around the character.